Bernie Sanders has officially jumped into the race. Trump is turning his fear-mongering towards socialism for two very distinct reasons, and how you can help the underdog candidates make it to the debate stage. We really need to hear their voices. That and more is coming up. I'm Kim Iverson. Thanks for joining me. All right, here we go. Bernie Sanders is running for president. He has raised a record $3.3 million in 10 hours, beating Kamala Harris. She raised $1.5 million in 24 hours. Amy Klobuchar, I don't know how anyone ever gave to her campaign because she's such a centrist, running on such a centrist message, but she raised $1 million in 48 hours. But Bernie Sanders has beat them all by raising a record $3.3 million in 10 hours, and I'm sure climbing. I'm sure that by the time this video posts, it'll be more money, and by the time we hit 24 hours, we'll see how much money the man was able to raise. First, I want to show you a couple of clips from the video he released. So it's a 10-minute long video. The link is down below, and this is his announcement. And then I also want to show you his campaign video, and it's really well done. I think it's actually the best one. So first, here are the clips from some select clips from the 10-minute video of his announcement.
I am running for president because we need trade policies that reflect the interests of workers and not multinational corporations. I am running for president because we need to take on the outrageous level of greed of the pharmaceutical industry and lower prescription drug prices in this country. I am running for president because the time is long overdue for the United States to join every other major country on earth and guarantee health care to all people as a right, not a privilege, through a Medicare for all single-payer program. I'm running for president because we need to have the best educated workforce in the world. It is totally counterproductive for our future that millions of Americans are carrying outrageous levels of student debt while many others cannot afford the high cost of higher education. I am running for president because we need real criminal justice reform. We need to invest in jobs and education for our kids, not more jails and incarceration. We need to end the destructive war on drugs, private prisons, and cash bail, and bring about major police department reform. We need to provide immediate legal status for the young people eligible for the DACA program and develop a humane policy for those at the border who seek asylum. I'm running for president because we must end the epidemic of gun violence in this country. We need to take on the NRA, expand background checks, end the gun show loophole, and ban the sale and distribution of assault weapons.
So one thing to note on this is the entire video. I mean, the guy just lists policy after policy after policy. I mean, he has ideas. He's not just saying, we're going to make America better and decent and can't we all just get along, which has been the message of all of these others. Bernie Sanders actually has absolute policies, and these are policies that he's already fleshed out. I mean, a lot of this stuff he's already written out. He's had reports on. He's done all the research. He knows exactly how it's going to work. He knows, I mean, you cannot find a more prepared, better candidate than Bernie Sanders. I mean, just, you can't. I do want to show you now this is the campaign video. I think it's so inspiring, the best one yet.
Real change never takes place from the top on down, but always from the bottom on up.
Bernie Sanders' healthcare for all idea is gaining steam.
Free tuition, free college tuition, free tuition champion, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders added, the greatest threat to national security is climate change.
The future of our planet is at stake.
Sanders taking on Amazon.
Bernie Sanders has been consistent hammering about income inequality.
Nobody in America works 40 hours a week, should be living in poverty. So our economy is rigged. We have a campaign finance system which is corrupt.
Sanders leading the charge to stop war against Yemen.
The first time ever the Senate has voted to end an unauthorized war.
The fight against injustice has been the work of his life.
Jobs and education, not jails and incarceration. We are not going to retreat on women's rights.
Sanders pushing a bold agenda that includes protecting DACA recipients and comprehensive immigration reform.
You don't rip little children away from the arms of their mother.
A major announcement from Amazon. Amazon will raise its minimum wage to $15 an hour. 350,000 workers.
Thousands of workers at Disney World will get raises. It's a victory for Bernie Sanders.
It's a victory for all workers. Brothers and sisters, we have a lot of work in front of us. If we are prepared to stand together, there is no end to what the great people of our nation can accomplish.
I really love that video. I think it really showcases Bernie. And, you know, something to really consider. So Bernie Sanders, this is his second time running. And, you know, AMLO down in Mexico, who ran on a very similar message, ran 3 times before finally winning. And he did win. And now he's bringing change to the Mexican people. He's already started selling off all of the government excess, like the government fancy planes. And he took an extremely low salary. He tried to make it to where no one else in Mexico, any of the other officials, could take higher salaries than him, but they revolted a bit. So he was like, okay, I guess you could take a little bit more than me. But, you know, he's just really trying to rein in on the government corruption down there. And you know, the Mexican people, they voted for that. And I'm really hoping that this time around, the American people open up their eyes and vote for one of the candidates who is absolutely looking to change the way our government is run. I mean, we have such a corrupt, bought out government on the take, and we've got to bring it back to the people. Bernie Sanders, he really speaks this message, and he's got, and it's not just that, you know, that's a message that Elizabeth Warren runs on as well. But Bernie Sanders also has really so many ideas, so many fleshed out policy, and he's just been at this for a very long time. So really great campaign videos. Taking to Twitter, gosh, you know, the bigotry, everybody's such a bigot. So during his interview, when he announced that he was going to be running for president, Bernie Sanders says that people need to be looking at the whole candidate and not just at their race, their gender, their age, you know, but looking actually at the qualifications of the candidate. And Bernie Sanders actually got a lot of backlash on that. First of all, here's the clip of what he said.
We have got to look at candidates, you know, not by the color of their skin, not by their sexual orientation or their gender, and not by their age. I mean, I think we have got to try to move us toward a non-discriminatory society which looks at people based on their abilities, based on what they stand for.
So he got a lot of backlash. People were saying on Twitter, for example, Neera Tanden, she's the president of Center for American Progress. She writes, at a time where folks feel under attack because of who they are, saying race or gender or sexual orientation or identity doesn't matter is not off. It's simply wrong. And all of these people are saying, you know, it really does matter. And people are wanting change. People do not want this old white guy. And we're ready for something new. You know, what I find so interesting, and I'm going to play this again. I played this already for you in another show, but I'm going to bring this back and show you again. Let's just take a listen to the first quick comments from Shirley Chisholm when she ran for president. Listen to this.
I am not the candidate of Black America, although I am black and proud. I am not the candidate of the women's movement of this country, although I am a woman, and I'm equally proud of that. I am not the candidate of any political bosses or fat cats or special interests. I stand here now without endorsements from many big-name politicians or celebrities or any other kind of prop. I do not intend to offer to you the tired and glib cliches which for too long have been an accepted part of our political life. I am the candidate of the people of America.
So, I mean, there you have it. Even Shirley Chisholm said, I am not the president. I am not the candidate for Black America, though I am black and proud. I am not the candidate for women, though I am also a woman and equally proud. I mean, she's saying exactly what Bernie Sanders said. So when I went around telling people on Twitter this, I was like, you know, you got to fight back, right? You got to push back, and I couldn't. I started giving them Shirley Chisholm's message, and they were trying to actually contort her message by saying, no, what she was saying was, don't discriminate against her because she's black and a woman. No, that's actually not what she said. We just heard what she said. She was very clear. She even went on to say, I am not the candidate for special interest in fat cats. Okay, so was she really saying, because I am special interest and I'm fat cat, so don't judge me for this? I mean, Bernie Sanders is saying the same thing that Shirley Chisholm said, and he's absolutely right, and she was absolutely right, that it comes down to a candidate's qualifications, not anything more than that. And yes, it would be really great if that candidate could come in a package that did look different than what we're so used to saying. But that's not the point. You want somebody who's going to actually change the system. You want somebody who's actually going to make change in your life, not somebody who's just going to represent it because of the way they look or their gender. And believe me, I would love to see a woman president. I absolutely would love to see this. It is damn time. And it is damn time that we have more minorities in Congress, that we have more minorities representing the group that is quickly becoming the non-minority in this country. But at the end of the day, what we really should want is the person who's actually going to make change in this country, not somebody who just says, wow, you mean I could maybe be president because I fit all the boxes? Oh my gosh, that's so great. No, I don't want somebody who's going to just fit all the boxes that the DNC decided was the boxes that we'd want them to fit into. I want somebody who actually has a vision for this country, and that is Bernie Sanders. There are a couple of others who have visions for this country, but Bernie Sanders definitely has a vision for this country. Going on, seeing more of the backlash on Twitter. John Cooper, he's the chairman of the Democratic Coalition, says Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. Yes, he's running for the Democratic nomination, but he's not a Democrat. Got it? Is that a bad thing right now in this climate when we see how Democrats treat candidates, how they've been treating candidates even since the time of Nixon, pretty much after World War II, when we saw the Democratic Party start to bury anti-war candidates and any candidates that spoke up against the establishment? You think it's such a bad thing to not be a Democrat right now? In fact, that's going to get him the independents because he's an independent. So that's going to get him the independent vote. So not really a very fair criticism there. It's just amazing to see the bigotry, people saying an old white guy. That is the definition of being a bigot when you say something like that. Look at the person's qualifications, look at their character, look at their message. I think Bernie Sanders is, and I've been saying it to people who don't believe me, he is the most popular candidate. You and I know this, many people know this. And when you tell this to some people who are more mainstream and they're looking for something different, they say, they kind of shake their head and say, no, his time is up, his time is over. But is it really? Because 3.3 million in 10 hours. All right, coming up next, I do want to talk about Trump turning his fear-mongering towards socialism. He gave a speech about Venezuela yesterday, and of course now they're going on the attack more about socialism in order to try to turn the electorate against Bernie Sanders. I'm going to talk about that next. Click the square thing here. Now it's time. That's how you get to the next video.